Sabotage Studios' first game, The Messenger, is one of my favorite games of all time. There's nothing I can say in the start of this video that's gonna sum up what I said in my review video of The Messenger, because really, even that video is not gonna sum up everything I love about this game. I could go on for hours about how much I love this game, how it subverts expectations of the genre and innovates on its gameplay, and its great comedic writing, and honestly a plethora of other things. And its story is only 8 hours long. So when I finally got around to purchasing Sabotage Studios' second game, and prequel to The Messenger, Sea of Stars, I thought to myself, okay, look, this game is longer, and this game is bigger than The Messenger. There's no way it's gonna be able to do what The Messenger did. And I have never been happier to be wrong in my entire life. Sea of Stars is a turn-based RPG game that has you play as Zale and Valerie, two solstice warriors with the powers of the sun and the moon, who must fight against the forces of the Fleshmancer, which requires you to travel across the several islands of this very strange and fantastical world. Sea of Stars is firstly a turn-based RPG, with pretty standard turn-based RPG mechanics, being you attack on your turn, your enemy attacks on their turn, and all of your characters have a specific set of moves that they can use, some of which cost MP. Except it also adds skill-based elements, like being able to block your enemy's attacks to reduce the damage, or allowing you to double up your attacks if you time them correctly. Which is honestly great, because not only does this prevent you from disengaging with the game early on, as you need to stay focused on timing your attacks correctly and blocking enemy attacks, but certain things build on this timing element, like Valerie's Moonerang. But this also doesn't diminish the more strategy-based RPG mechanics, as there is still a very large emphasis on strategy. The best way that both skill and strategy are utilized, in my opinion, is when enemies are charging up their special attacks. When enemies charge up special attacks, they'll have little locks displayed above them, displaying the damage type that you need to deal in order to stop them. Most of the time these locks will require you to double up your attacks, although oftentimes it'll make it an advantage to use things like Moonerang or Venom Flurry. But then you'll also need to switch between different characters or even use combos to actually break all of their locks, which I just love. There's also magic without using magic, which makes it so that when you do a standard attack against an enemy, they drop little orbs that allow you to charge up your attacks and skills, adding additional damage to them, or if it's a healing ability, making it heal for more. This also helps with the lock system, as usually charging your attacks deals an additional damage type. Overall, the game just gives you lots in terms of combat, which makes a lot of sense, because that's probably the thing that you're going to be doing the most of, minus maybe exploring. The game is a pretty standard leveling up system, where you level up by collecting XP, which you get from defeating enemies and bosses in combat. Each level increases each character's health, attack power, defense, and magical attack and defense. But it also lets you add additional points to a specific stat of your choosing, or take an additional point of MP. However, surprisingly, despite the game using XP, there is never really a need to grind and level up to beat certain bosses. Even if you just stay focused on the main story like I mostly did, and pretty much ignore side quests until the end, chances are you'll be the right level to be able to defeat everything, so long as you use strategy. It also doesn't mean the game's easy. Some of the bosses will be pretty difficult for you. There is also a sort of easy mode that you can use in the game if you just want to enjoy the story, which this game's story is great, so honestly, I ain't even gonna blame you. The game's map is a vast ocean with several unique islands within it, and at some point you'll need to explore each island to progress the story. And exploring the different landscapes of these islands is generally pretty fun, as well as the fact that there are unique things about each island that make them distinguishable. Like Sleeper's Island has a giant sleeping dragon on it, Evermist Island is covered in a mist, Mesa Island is my favorite for obvious reasons, but it's also a mesa, and Wraith Island is about as cheerful as the average Christmas dinner with my family. And like every Christmas dinner with my family, each island presents unique challenges and different landscapes to explore, as well as different enemies to fight against, besides my uncles. Exploration opens up even more when you obtain the Grapplu and the Wind Bracelet, which allow you to not only get places quicker, but also unlock new paths and find new items. These things are also incorporated into the puzzle solving aspect of the game, which, by the way, this game's puzzles are great. I don't really know what to say other than I enjoyed the puzzles. None of the puzzles really felt tedious or annoying, so I guess that's really good. As well, the game really opens up when you obtain the ability to sail between islands using the ship. The ship's steering does take a tiny bit of time to get used to, either that or I'm just bad at the game. There's also collectibles that you can find across the game's map, like the rainbow conches, the question packs, the music sheets, or even just other items like weapons and armor. Now, it can feel a little tedious trying to collect all these items because it involves a lot of backtracking, and also because Ping Parrot isn't too much help, okay? As it literally won't tell you if there's anything left in the area you're in until you leave and go to another fucking area, like...
Oh, we were right there, man!
I think it goes without saying that this game's art is just beautiful. Whether it's the character sprites, the background art, terrain, attack animations, enemies, landscapes, whatever it may be. There is nothing that looks bad in this game. On top of that, because you have the ability within the game to change between day and night, the game utilizes directional lighting, and this transition is just seamless. And all of this, especially in a pixel art game, is something that could really easily be fucked up. Yet Sabotage just do it perfectly. And it's awesome. And let's talk about this game's soundtrack, because this game's soundtrack is just banger after banger after banger across 3 albums with over 200 songs, and with a bunch of them also having distinct day and night versions, which in the game just transition seamlessly into each other, which is just amazing. The soundtrack is composed by Eric W. Brown, aka Rainbow Dragon Eyes, along with some guest composers like Yasunori Mitsuda and Vincent Jones. There's also plenty of echoes of Messenger soundtracks, and lots of nostalgia for that game. Which makes sense since this is a prequel to the Messenger, and honestly, I just love this. This honestly really makes me want to do a Picnic Panic video. This game's story is a pretty standard good versus evil story. You're the good guy, and you're going to defeat the bad guys. However, there are also tons of twists and curveballs thrown throughout the story that I genuinely didn't see coming. Like, Sabotage is just really good at playing with audience expectations. It's something that showed quite a bit throughout the Messenger, but it really shows in this game. This game is a roller coaster ride, and I love it. Not to mention, it also has tons of lovable and memorable characters, with an obvious favorite of many being Gull. Like, Gull is just too good. Gull is the Samwise Gamgee of Sea of Stars, which means he's the best character and everyone loves him for it. Honestly, I think the game's biggest twist is that Gull is actually the main character, and this entire time, you've just been playing as 2 side characters. The game has other memorable characters, such as including, and of course not limited to, every single other character in the game. Like, they're just all great. I don't know what to say. Even the bad guys and a lot of the background characters are pretty hype. This game also has great character comedy and jokes, and honestly even some meta humor in there as well, although it's not as full on as The Messenger. I'd honestly love to go into more detail, but I don't really want to spoil anything, because I honestly just want you guys to play the game and have the same first experience that I did, where everything lands. So I'm probably just going to cut this section short here, and we're going to talk about a few things that I haven't touched on in this review. Now just quickly, I want to touch on the mini-games that you can play outside of the main games. I surprisingly really enjoyed fishing. I didn't mind exploring and trying to catch all the weird breeds of fish in the game, plus it was nice and relaxing. I really can't complain about it. Another one is Wheels, which is a little figurine battle game with a spinner that dictates your actions in the game. To be honest, I didn't really like Wheels at first, but once I got the hang of it and, you know, started winning a bit, it kind of grew on me. I actually kind of wish there were more Wheels champions now. There are also quizzes, which are nice if you want to test how much you remember from the game. They aren't really my thing, but I did them, and they're there. Look, you may not be a big fan of the minigames, but at the end of the day, they're optional, and you don't have to do them. Whether it's exploration, RPG combat, a fun game to play, a great aesthetic, or a fun story to follow, Sea of Stars has something for you. I honestly love this game from start to finish. It's about $50 on Steam, but it's quite worth it in my opinion. But if you also haven't played the Messenger, then I'd recommend buying the Sea of Stars and Messenger bundle, and starting with playing the Messenger first. Anyway, thanks for watching. Shout out to my channel members, Hyperius and Kibakins. I'll put them on screen here. Thank you for supporting the channel. It really helps me in making these videos, and if you too watching this would like to support the channel, you can just click the join button down below if you really want. But don't feel obligated to if you simply don't have the means to do so, or would rather spend your money elsewhere. At the end of the day, all the content on this channel will always be free. But if you enjoyed this video and still want to help out the channel, you can help out by liking and subscribing, and even just commenting down below, telling me what you thought of the video, things I could improve, games that you'd recommend I play, or you can even just tell me to go fuck myself. I appreciate it all the same. Anyway, next video is probably going to be Lords of Shadow 2, so be on the lookout for that, but that's all for today, so until next time, piss off.